Okay. Now, as you all know, the apothecary and the Vodafone system, these two systems are actually quite old. Okay, and so they are only of historical value as of now. Okay, most pharmacists already make use of the metric system. Okay, however, as I already highlighted last time, some pharmacists and some medications are still expressed in your apothecary system. That's why we still need to introduce to you the apothecary system. Okay, but what is most commonly used nowadays um, in many of the measurements that we do, whether it be in compounding, in manufacturing, in quality control, or elsewhere, is the metric system. Remember that the metric system of measure was formulated right after the French Revolution in the late 18th century. Its use in the US was actually legalized in 1866. Okay? However, ayan, ito na naman tayo sa US, we recognize that in the United States, even though um, the even though it's been legalized in 1866, the use of this system of measurement in the United States is still not very widespread because of systemic problems. No, when you change kasi from one system of measurement to another, there's a lot of things that you need to change as well. No, imagine how they will be changing the signages that they already have in miles per hour, or the cars that they sell there, probably will need to have conversions between kilometers per hour and miles per hour. No, by act of Congress in 1893, it became the legal standard of measure in the United States, and all other systems are referred to it for official comparison. Now, why is the metric system the more preferred system of measurement amongst the many systems of measurement that came out, no, since people measured um, things? Okay, so basically there are two reasons why the metric system is quite popular, and why it is recommended for use in a lot of societies. One is its simplicity because of the decimal system of notation, and convenience, especially when you convert from one denomination to the next. Okay, as you have already figured out, okay, while interconverting between the apothecary and the avodopo system, or within the system. For example, when you convert fluid ounce to pint, or when you convert um, ounce, apothecary ounce to apothecary pound, okay, it's quite difficult, right? You have to remember the conversion factors that you need to use. Okay, the numbers also don't appear to have something in common. Okay, but in the metric system, where everything is based on the decimal system, we can already interconvert within the system, the metric system, by just moving the decimal place. Okay. Yeah, and so we have prefixes, okay, which represent either the subdivisions or the multiples of the common or the fundamental unit. Okay. Yeah. So for example, when we have the fundamental unit, which is meter, um, a tenth of a meter will be decimeter. Okay, and a hundredth of a meter will be a centimeter, and a thousandth of the meter is a millimeter. Okay, and so those are the prefixes that you will use: deci, centi, and milli. And of course, we have other subdivisions like the micro, 10 to the negative 6, the nano, 10 to the negative 9, pico, which is 10 to the negative 12, femto, which is 10 to the negative 15, and atto, which is 10 to the negative 18. Now, multiples of the basic unit can also be represented by prefixes. And the prefixes that we have are the following. We have the deca, hecto, kilo, myria, mega, giga, tera, peta, and exa. Okay? And so those are the many prefixes that you will have to be familiar with. Although in pharmacy, we don't normally use a lot of these, no? And we don't use most of these prefixes. But I found this online. Okay, and so and meron daw a way, no? There's a mnemonic for you to remember the first letters of the subdivisions or the multiples in the metric system. Okay? Yeah, so sabi dito, it's King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. Okay? Ayan, so the first K stands for kilo, and then the second, the H stands for hecto, the D stands for deca, and then U, okay, stands for the unit, the basic unit, and then another D, okay, deci, then C, centi, and M, milli. Okay, and so, ayan. So for example, if you will be converting, okay, from a smaller unit to a larger unit, okay, and so, for example, you have, let's say, 1,000 meters, okay, and 1,000 meters. If you will be converting the unit, okay, to, let's say, kilometers, and you will be moving the decimal place to the left, okay, and so to make the numeral smaller, okay, because the unit will take on, okay, the multiplier for that particular unit, okay. Yeah, so yun yung ibig niyang sabihin. Let me write it down. And so, for example, we have here 1,000 meters. Okay, when you convert this, let's say, to kilometers, and so what you will be doing is you will be moving the decimal place to the right. Okay, and so to the left. Yeah. By the way, yan, sasabihin ko pa lang sana class, no? I have this terrible problem. I do not know which is left and which is right. Okay, ayan. So, before I remember, okay, or before I figure out which one is left and which one is right, I have to silently um, mention in my head the two words, no? Left and right. Okay? Ayan, so medyo ano talaga, mahina yung ano ko, yung location location ko. I don't know what you call that. And so I cannot remember which one is left, which one is right, and alin yung kaliwa, alin yung kanan. So I still have to mention it in my head na left and then right. Okay, so left is here, so right is here. Okay, and so nagkamali yata ako ng sinabi kanina, no? So you move the decimal place to the left. Okay, ayan. Yan, so kaya sinusulatan ko siya ng L, left, ayan, to get the equivalent of the kilometer. Okay? And because the kilometer, the K, ayan, the kilo already takes on the multiplier for that unit. Okay? And so remember that the kilo, okay, is equivalent to times 10 to the 3. Okay? Ayan, so yung K dyan, okay, already takes on the multiplier for this numeral. That's why when you convert from a smaller unit to a larger unit, okay, you move the decimal place to the left, okay, to get a numeral that is smaller, okay, because the prefix will already take on the multiplier for the basic unit that is meter, okay. Ayan, so yun yung way of interconverting to a larger unit. Oo, actually iniisip ko na yan na you can ask your upperclassmen about this. whenever I teach pala, either organic chemistry or pharmaceutical calculations, I always write on the board the words left and right. Okay, yeah, so that I will not mess up telling to the class which one is going to the left, which one is going to the right. Okay? And so normally yun yung ginagawa ko. No? I write it on the board na this is the left and this is the right. Okay? And so kaya ganon, sinusulat ko dito din yung left and L and then right R. Okay? Yan. So yeah. Actually, sana yung gagamitin ko na ano na some facts about me, no? I do not know which one is left, which one is right. But at least I know which is up and down. Okay, and so yung left and right lang talaga, litong-lito ako. Ayan, so that's another yung kaliwa and kanan, no? Ayan, so may ano, the way that I remember yung kaliwa and kanan is L comes first before N. Okay, and so siya yung nasa left side, kaliwa, and then kanan, N comes after L in the alphabet. So siya si right. Okay, yan. So medyo lito rin ako, alin yung kaliwa at alin yung kanan. Yan, so ganon. Pero pag kaliwa kanan kasi hindi ko pwedeng isulat yung K, no? Sa kamay ko. Pareho lang K at K, no? Ayan. So yung left and right pwede pa. Ayan. So sa org chem kasi, 'di ba may ano kasi meron kasi doon na isomers, okay? So yung optical isomers, the levorotatory and the dextrorotatory. Ayan. So litong-lito ako kung alin yung left at yung alin yung right. So what I do, I write it on the board. L, R, ayan. So my former students will tell you na totoo yun. No? Ayan. So when I tell you the wrong direction, just tell me, no? Sigurado ako na magkakamali ako. Okay? Ayan. So, yeah, correct, no? Yeah, when I direct din yung ano, yung taxi, ayan, kung kakaliwa siya or kakanan, minsan namamali ako eh, no? Sasabihin ko, kuya, kakanan po tayo, pero what I mean really is going to the left, okay? Ayan, so nakakalito talaga yung Tagalog ng kaliwa and kanan, okay? Ayan, so medyo ano, konting kwentuhan lang, okay? Para naman ma-break yung ice, okay? Ayan. Next is, let's say naman, okay, you will be converting from let's say from a larger, okay, from a larger unit. Let's say magsimula tayo sa kilo, okay? So let's say you have 10 kilograms, okay? Ayan. So let's say you will be converting 10 kilograms to, let's say, gawin natin siyang milligrams. Okay, ayan. Medyo malayo-layo yun, ha? Ayan, so milligrams. Ayan. So 10 kilograms to milligrams. Remember na yung K dyan, okay, yung kilo, that stands for the multiple. For the multiple. Okay, ayan. So what I normally do is this, no? So 10 kilograms, and I convert this first to the first multiple that I know. So 10 to the 3 grams. Okay? Yan yung I put it first to the basic unit or the fundamental unit. Okay? Yeah, so meron na tayong grams, and then what we do for next will be to convert yung grams into milligrams. Okay? So remember na 1,000 milligrams are equivalent to a gram. Okay? Or kung babalik ta rin natin, and let me just use the eraser. Ayan. Balik ta rin natin. Okay. Hold on. Ayan. So 10 to the 3 grams. Okay? Then we know na, sabi kasi dito, a milli is actually 10 to the negative 3, okay, of the basic unit. Okay? Ayan. So 1 milligram is equivalent to 10 to the negative 3, 10 to the negative 3 grams. Okay? So, pwede rin naman ganyan. Okay? So, isulat ko yung dalawa. Ayan, para hindi nakakalito. So, 10 kilograms times and 10 to the 3 grams are equivalent to 1 kilogram. And then, we know that 1,000 milligrams are equivalent to 1 gram. Okay? So you simply multiply all these numbers, 10 times 10,000 times 1,000 So that will be equivalent to a very, very large number. Ayan. Another thing, another fact about me, I cannot do mental math. So hold on. So 10 times 1,000 times 1,000. Ayan. So that's 1, 2, ayan. So 10, 0.00000 of a milligram. Okay? Ayan. So there's another way to do this. Okay? Ayan. So meron pang isa pang paraan to be able to do this. Okay? Let's do our scientific notations. Okay? Ayan. So, but before that, okay, remember that when you are converting from a large denomination to a smaller denomination, the movement of the decimal place is from, okay, left to right. Okay, yan, papunta doon. You will be moving your decimal place from left to right. That's why your decimal place is over here, no? I-move mo siya several times to the right. Okay, yan, to the right. That's why we arrived at this answer. 10 million milligrams are equivalent to 10 kilograms. Okay, ayan. So imagine how convenient it is, no, to really use the uh, yeah, to use the metric system. Okay, you can also express this in scientific notation. And so remember that 1,000 is equivalent to 10 to the 3. Okay, ayan. So 10 raised to the third power. Ayan. So remember in mathematics, when you have the same base, ayan, you simply have to add the exponents. Okay, ayan. So you have 10 to the 6. Okay? Tapos, even this, same base. Okay? So, yung exponent nito is 1. Ayan, so, i-add mo rin siya. So, 10 to the 7. Okay? So, that's why this is equivalent to 1 times 10 to the 7 of a milligram. Okay? Now, when we look at this answer, ayan, i-move lang natin siya to the right, to the left. Ayan, hold on, to the left. Ayan, so we will move the decimal place to the left 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay? So 10 kilograms are equivalent to 1 times 10 to the 7 of the milligram. Okay? And so that's how you convert, no, between denominations in the metric system. It's quite easier as compared to your apothecary or avoirdupois system, where you have to remember unrelated numbers to convert one denomination to the next. Okay? And so I think there are a couple of your classmates who are finding it difficult to connect to the internet. And so just like what we do before, no, send me a message, and so that I can give you the link to the recording of this class if you would need it. Okay. Yeah, but I have taken note already of your attendance. Okay, so I hope with all the confusion between the left and the right, okay, so I hope you were able to understand, okay, yung mga sinabi ko. No? Ayan, so here is the comparison between the metric system and the English system, at least in terms of the measurement of length, okay? You will see here na in the metric system, it's quite easy, no, to interconvert between denominations. While in the English system, it's difficult. Okay, so for example, according here, 1 mile is equivalent to 1,760 yards, and 1 yard is equivalent to 3 feet, and 1 foot is equivalent to 12 inches. Notice how these numbers are actually unrelated to each other. Okay, yan, walang kinalaman sa isa't isa yung mga yan. No? So for you to be good at interconverting between denominations in the English system, you have to remember all these conversion factors. When we were in undergrad, we were actually asked to memorize all those conversion factors. Okay, but I don't want to do the same to you. No, so you don't have to memorize these. Just write down all the conversions that you can see in your textbook. Okay, so you will be so that it will be easier for you, no, to answer problems involving interconversion between metric system and Avogadro or apothecary system. Ayan. So now let's talk about some other useful equivalents aside from those that we already mentioned. Okay, you can actually interconvert inch and in the English system, the inch, foot, and the yard system to the metric system and vice versa. Okay, yeah, so we have here the equivalence of length. Okay, now there's a couple of these, no, but I will ask you to only remember this. Okay, ayan. So just remember that an inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. Okay, and you are good to go. Okay, yeah. So as long as you remember that 12 inches are equivalent to a foot, 3 feet are equivalent to a yard. Okay, and 1,760 yards are equivalent to a mile. You can already convert between English system and the metric system. Okay, so just remember this. Yan lang naman. 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54. Yan, tapos centimeters. Now, just convert centimeters to meters, kilometers, or whatnot. Okay? Ayan. So, mas madali kasi yon kaysa yung tandaan mo lahat, no, ng conversion factor. So actually, whenever I see measurements in meters, I would convert them to inches, no, by using this conversion factor. Kasi it's easier for me to visualize what an inch looks like. Okay? Yan, kaysa sa yung meters. Okay? Although yung centimeter, madali ring tandaan, no, how long a centimeter is, no. It's the same it's almost the same size as the first joint of your pinky finger, no, yung centimeter. Ayan. Pero kasi yung thumb, yung size ng thumb mo, that's usually an inch, no? Ayan. Kaya madaling i-approximate. Okay? Ayan. But not always the case. Some people have, of course, longer fingers. So, iba yung ano nila, no? Yung measurements. And over here, we have equivalence of volume. So, alin lang dito yung I will ask you to actually remember. Okay? So, I will just ask you to remember this. Ayan. So, just remember that 1 fluid ounce, remember this is in apothecary units. Okay? Wala tayong avogadro equivalent of the fluid ounce. Okay? Ayan, so this one is in apothecary units. Ayan, so 29.57 milliliters are equivalent to 1 fluid ounce. Now, the others, you can convert just by multiplying. Okay, ayan, so multiply mo lang sila by 16, ayan, by 32, or by 128. Okay? Now, the US gallon and the UK gallon are different. Okay, so magkaiba sila. Remember that the apothecary units, okay, ito ay yung tinatawag nating English system. Okay? Labo, no? Ayan, tapos yung UK gallon, ito yung imperial gallon. Okay? Ayan, so magkaiba yung equivalents ng US gallon and ng UK gallon. Okay? So yung US gallon, yun yung English system. Yun yung apothecary system. Okay? Pero yung UK gallon, this is different. Okay? So iba yung unit na ginagamit niya. Ayan, so it's 4,545. Okay? um, milliliters per gallon. But, ayan, by default, okay, when you see gallon, okay, it is equivalent to this. Okay, and by default, okay, unless it is not specified, unless it is, sorry, that's double negative, unless it is specified that the gallon is UK. That's the only time that you will use this number, no? 4,545 milliliters. In most cases, when you see the word gallon, it refers to the English gallon, which is the US gallon, and that's equivalent to 128 fluid ounces. Okay. And that's equivalent to 3,785 milliliters. Okay. And that is actually derived when you multiply 128 by 29.57. Now, in equivalence of weight, okay, ito lang yung papatanda ko sa inyo, no? So just remember that 2.2 pounds are equivalent to a kilogram, okay? Doon din naman ang galing yung 454 grams, okay? Yeah, so for example, if we would like to convert your pound to grams, okay? So we have 2.2 pounds, and if we would like to convert this to grams. Okay. So we have here 2.2 pounds equivalent to how many? Ayan. Oops. Sorry about that. This is a mistake. Ayan. So if we will convert, no, 2.2 pounds um to grams. Okay? Ayan. So, gagawin natin siyang grams. Okay? Ayan. So, remember na yung 2.2 pounds ay equivalent sa 1 kilogram. Ayan. Bakit pa ikot-ikot lang ako? Ayan. Teka, buhayin ko muna. Malabo. Ang labo ko eh. Ayan. Hold on. Ano bang gusto kong gawin? Okay. Yung 1 pound. Okay. So, kaya pala. So, ulitin ko na lang, no? So, I'm sorry about that. So, 1 pound is how many grams? Ayan. So, para mas malinaw. Ayan. So, miski ako nalito. Ayan. So, 1 pound is equivalent to how many grams? Okay. So, ide-derive lang natin kung saan ang galing yung 454 grams. Okay. So, 1 pound is how many grams? Okay. So, this is where you will be putting the conversion factor. So 1 kilogram is equivalent to 2.2 pounds, and 1 kilogram is equivalent to 1,000 grams. Okay, so 1,000 divided by 2, that's equivalent to 454 point, dire-diretso yan. And so 1,000 divided by 2.2, that's equivalent to 454.54 grams. Okay? So doon lang din naman ang galing yon. Okay? So you don't have to memorize it. Just remember this. Okay? Yeah. So again, if there's anything that you would like to remember, okay, just remember that an inch is 2.54 centimeters. A fluid ounce, okay, is equivalent to 29.57 milliliters, and a kilogram is equivalent to 2.2 pounds. Okay? All the rest you can derive. Okay? Ayan, so hindi na masyadong needed yung mga yon. Yeah, so there are some other practical and important conversion factors. And these ones you can find in the appendix part of your textbook. Ayan, so ang mga i-highlight ko are the following. Okay? So remember that ayan. Actually, ito medyo madaling tandaan to. Although you don't need this, no? Just remember that 1 fluid ounce is equivalent to 8 fluid grams. So divide 29.57 by 8, you get 3.69. Okay? Ayan. Pero madali kasing tandaan yung numbers, no? 369. Okay? Ayan. So 369. Another thing that you have to remember is the grain. Okay? Where's the grain? There. Ayan. So 65 milligrams are equivalent to a grain. Okay? Ayan. So remember that as well. What else do you have to remember here? Wala na yan. Sobrang ano na yan. Sobrang common na yan. This one. 1 milliliter is equivalent to 16.23 minims. Okay? Or mas madali yata kasing i-memorize yung smaller number, 0.06 milliliter is equivalent to a minim. Okay? Ayan. So, those are some of the important conversion factors which will be helpful if you do remember them. Okay? And now, I don't normally ask you to memorize yung ibang mga conversion factors kasi you can just um, convert them or you can just get the conversion factors by using those that you already know. Okay? Yeah. So for example, yung dito, yung apothecary pound to grams. Okay? Bakit hindi ko na masyadong mini-mention yan? Because if you already know the equivalent number of grains, okay, and yung milligrams, okay, yan, so madali na lang mag-convert ng apothecary pound. Okay? Kasi you know how many grains are there in an apothecary pound. Likewise, you also know how many grains there are in the avoirdupois pound. Okay, and so actually, when you remember that 1 pound is equivalent to 7,000 grains. Okay, and so try natin. So 7,000. And so in 7,000, 7,000 grains, tapos 1 grain is equivalent to 65 milligrams. So times 65 divided by 1,000. So that will be equivalent to about 455, okay, grams. Okay, so yun din yun, no? 454.54 grams. Okay, ayan. So ito yung kanilang conversion. Okay, I think I saw some chat in the chat box. Hold on. Hindi tayo nag-break out. Okay. Ayan. So let's try some examples. Okay. These are actually similar to those that you already answered in your learning modules. Okay. Ayan. So for example, a medicinal plaster measures 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. What are the dimensions in centimeters? Ayan. So what you will do is just do this, no? So 4.5 inches and then 6.5 inches. We know that 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. Yeah, so ito na yung purpose ng dimensional analysis. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Ayan, so we have 4.5 times 2.54, and that is equivalent to 11.43 centimeters. And then 6.5 times 2.54 will be equivalent to 16.51 centimeters. Okay. Now, of course, you can always express your answer using the principles that we mentioned in the past. Okay. Using when you have um, multiplication, no? When you use the operation multiplication, you will be expressing your answer using the number with the least number of significant figures. So this will be approximately equal to 11 centimeters. And this one can be approximately equal to 17 centimeters. Okay? Yeah, but of course, that's just a um, minor thing. Now, how about these? No, pabaliktad naman. So you have to convert 50 millimeters to inches. Okay, so remember that it's easier if you will be converting first yung subdivision of the meter back to meter or centimeter to inches. Okay, yeah. So for example, we know that 10 millimeters are equivalent to 1 centimeter. Okay? And we also know that 2.54 centimeters are equivalent to 1 inch. Okay? Ayan. So we can now convert the length of the female urethral suppository 50 divided by 10 divided by 2.54. So this is equivalent to approximately 2, right? 2 inches. Okay? And then yung male na urethral suppository, this is equal to this. And so 125 divided by 10 divided by 2.54, and that is equivalent to about 5 inches. Okay? Ayan. So, what are suppositories, by the way? No? Ayan. So, if you wonder and if you haven't tackled this in the laboratory, when you say suppository, it is any dosage form that is inserted in an orifice. Okay? And there are actually three types of suppositories. Okay? So, we have the rectal suppository, oo, pinapasok sa sa orifice, okay? Ayan, so pinapasok siya. So we have the rectal suppository, ayan, rectal. So obvious kung saan naman siya nilalagay, no? So nilalagay siya sa rectum, okay? And then meron tayong urethral suppository. So nilalagay sa urethra. And then meron ding vaginal suppository. Okay? And yung vaginal suppository, this one is also called your pessaries. Ayan. So, of course, their functions are different. Usually, yung urethral and vaginal suppositories, these contain antimicrobial agents. No? These are commonly used if the patient has urinary tract problems, or yung sa vaginal naman, pag meron siyang vaginal flush. Okay? May yeast infection down there. Okay? Yung rectal suppository naman is commonly used for as a laxative. Okay? Yan. So kaya yung pinakakilala ay yung Bisacodyl, okay, containing na rectal suppository. It's quite a big ganito siya, bullet shape. Okay? Yan. So it's a bullet shape dosage form. It's about 1.5 inches in length. Okay? Ganun yan kahaba. And kaya nga, it's important for pharmacists to correct, no? Ayan. So, ginagamit yung rectal suppositories most of the time for patients with difficulty in excretion, no? Ayan. So, nahirapan silang mag-poops. Okay? Ayan. So, pampatae, laxative. Okay? Ayan. So, yung direct, no? So, direct yung action niya. So, you place it uh, in the rectum, okay? And then you allow it to dissolve, okay? And so normally, ang rectal suppository ay made of cocoa butter and or glycerin. Napagsabay ko yung dalawa. Glycerin or glycerol, okay? Ayan, so they melt in the body temperature, okay? Ayan, so it's important for pharmacists to tell the patients how to insert this, okay? Ayan, so minsan kasi, correct, no? Kaya minsan kasi hindi sinasabi ng pharmacist or whoever is attending in the pharmacy how these kinds of dosage forms are to be administered. Okay? Ayan. So, dapat important dito yung information that the pharmacist, no, tells to the patient. Kasi minsan nagkakamali yung patient, akala niya yung rectal suppository ay iniinom din. Mabubulunan siya. Okay? Ayan. So, kailangan i-explain ng pharmacist na this is a rectal suppository. So, pinapasok yan dun sa puwet. Okay? Ayan. Tapos, may tamang ano din, may tamang position. Okay? Para maipasok siya doon sa ano. Yeah, correct. Parang glue stick na yung itsura niya kasi now it's made of glycerin, I think, no? Yung medyo whitish in color, no? Ayan, tapos medyo lubricated yung ano, yung mga yan para madaling i-insert. Now, you take usually yung mga other medications can also be in the form of suppositories. Ayan. These are commonly used if the patients are not able to take medications orally. Okay? Ayan. So, kasi nga, for example, nagsusuka yung patient. Okay? Ayan, hindi siya pwedeng mag-take ng medications orally kasi nagsusuka siya, no? Isusuka niya lang yung gamot. Ayan, so pwedeng suppository yung ibigay sa kanya, no? Another reason why you might choose suppository over the oral dosage form, it's to increase the bioavailability of the medication because the drug is in direct contact with the mucosa, so it does not have much first pass effect na tinatawag, no, where the dose of the drug gets lower before it even reaches the site of action. Okay, so you'll learn more of that soon, no, in your other subjects. Okay, so how about this one? If a, um, if a physician prescribed 4 grams of aspirin to be taken by a patient daily, about how many 5-grain tablets should the patient take every day? Ayan. So in this problem, ayan, there are a couple of things that you need to do. First, you need to convert 4 grams to grains. Okay, ayan. So i-convert natin siya to grains. Ayan. So for us to be able to do this, ayan, we need to convert our grams first to milligrams. And once we have the milligrams, we can now convert milligrams to grain. Okay? Ayan. So 4 times 1,000 divided by 65 is equivalent to 61.5384, or let's just say 61.5 grains. Okay? Now, ang tanong ay how many 5-grain tablets should the patient take each day? Okay? And so what you will just do is you will divide this, no, 61.5 grains divided by 5 grains per tablet. And so divided by 5. So the answer is 12.3 tablets. Now, dahil may 0.3, ayan, so just like before, we will logically, okay, round off this value to 13 tablets. Yun yung kailangan niyang i-take each day. Kasi wala ka naman, hindi naman pwedeng 12 lang, no? Kasi kukulangin, okay? Ayan, so doon tayo sa mas mataas, okay? Ayan, so there are, of course, other ways to do this, okay? You can also convert the 5 grains, okay, to grams. Okay? So for example, 5 grains, yan, i-convert natin sa grams. So, oops, sorry. Ay, highlighter. Mali. Ayan. So remember that to convert this, ay, so 5 grains and ilang grams ba yung equivalent niyan? Okay, so remember that um, mukhang ano, yan, lagyan natin ng R. Okay? Ayan, so 1 grain is equivalent to 65 milligrams. Okay? And then 1,000 milligrams are equivalent to 1 gram. Okay? Ayan. So, ayun yung difficulty kasi with the grams and the grains. No? Ayan. So, sometimes if you just forget the letter R, ayan, iba na yung ibig niya sabihin. Okay? So, kinorek ko na siya. And so, next is, ayan, just convert 5 grains to grams. So, 5 times 65 divided by 1,000. So, this will be equivalent to 0.325 grams or 325 milligrams. Okay? So, what you will do is you will divide 4 grams, ayan, doon sa 0.325 gram per tablet to get the number of tablets. Okay, so 4 divided by 0.325 is equivalent to the same, 12.3 tablets. Okay, ayan. So again, kaya ang explanation ko kung bakit 13 tablets yung i-dispense, it's because we don't have zero point 0.3 na tablet. Okay, so what you will give is, of course, the higher number. Okay, although when you look at this, no, according to the rules of rounding off, dapat 12 tablets lang. Okay, but by logic, okay, what you need to dispense is the larger value. Okay. Now, ayan, let's tackle a different topic. Okay. Um, Whenever you express a volume of a liquid or whenever you weigh a material, there are actually two quantities that are important. Okay? The apparent weight or volume that is measured and the possible excess or deficiency in the actual quantity obtained. Ano yung ibig sabihin nito? No? So for example, when I say that I have already measured 10 milliliters of the liquid, okay? Um, this is just an approximation of the actual measurement of its volume. Okay, it is its apparent volume. Okay, now there could be a possible excess or deficiency depending on the instrument that I used. Okay, for example, if I use a graduated cylinder that is let's say a 25 milliliter graduated cylinder. Hold on a moment. Ayan. Okay. So life in the new normal. Ayan. So okay, so going back to what I was mentioning earlier, no? When you measure, let's say 10 milliliters using a 25 milliliter graduated cylinder, the 25 milliliter graduated cylinder could have a percentage error. No, it has an allowance for a possible excess or deficiency of the actual measurement that is obtained. No, let's say that the percentage of error that you can actually have, no, when you use a 25 milliliter graduated cylinder is about zero point 0.5 milliliters. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, whenever you measure 10 milliliters of the material, okay, or of the liquid, it could be 9.5 milliliters to 10.5 milliliters. Okay? Now, let's say that you measured 10 milliliters using your burette. Okay. Now the burette is a narrow gauge. It is a narrow gauge cylinder used to accurately measure volumes. Okay. So let's say that because the burette is able to measure more accurately than than your 25 milliliter graduated cylinder, the percentage, the sensitivity requirement or the error that is allowable ay most likely ganito lang siya kaliit, no? So let's say it's just 0.01 milliliter, okay? And so it means that the measured volume could be 9.99 milliliters to 10.01 milliliters. Okay? Now, where do you find all these, no? Yung mga errors na yan, okay? Or these are also known as tolerances. And these values are actually seen, okay, in the actual equipment itself. No? And so, for example, in the burette, you will find it in the burette, in your balance, in your analytical balance, you will be able to find the sensitivity requirement or the error or the tolerance. Okay? And so, iba-iba kasing pangalan niya, but basically they mean the same. Okay? So remember that whenever you measure, no, a particular material, no, whenever you measure its volume or its weight, okay, you don't only get the apparent weight or the volume of the material, but you also get a possible excess or deficiency in the actual quantity that is obtained. So that's why we have this quantity that is called the percentage of error. Okay. The percentage of error is the maximum potential error, and another term that is used for tolerance or sensitivity requirement, multiplied by 100 and divided by the quantity desired. Okay. And so this is the maximum potential error, again, also known as sensitivity requirement, divided by the quantity that is desired times 100%. Okay. So for example, in the burette, okay, um, in the burette, let's say that its error is 0.01 milliliter, okay, ayan. And then what you desire to measure is 10 milliliters, ayan. Its percentage of error will be 0.01 times 100 divided by 10, okay? And that is equal to, ayan, 0.01 times 100 divided by 10, that's equivalent to 0.1% error. Yeah, so let's try some examples. Yeah, kasi it's easier to understand these, no, using some examples. Okay. So first is we have this problem using a graduated cylinder. A pharmacist measures 30 milliliters of a liquid. On subsequent examination, using a narrow gauge burette, it was determined that the pharmacist had actually measured 32 milliliters. What was the percentage error in the original measurement? Now, to illustrate what happened here, no, initially you used a graduated cylinder. Ayan, so let me try to draw this. Ayan. So ito yung graduated cylinder. Okay? Now, your measurement is 30 milliliters. Ayan. Ayan, 30 milliliters. But when you used a narrow gauge, ayan, a narrow gauge burette, yung measurement pala, no, you just transferred this liquid here, okay? Its actual measurement ay 32 milliliters pala, no? Ayan. So the question is, what is the percentage error in the original measurement? Okay? So what you will do is you will simply use the accurate value, which is 32 milliliters, and minus 30 milliliters divided by, ayan, ano yung i-divide? Remember that ang question is, what is the percentage error in the original measurement? Okay? The original measurement is 30 milliliters. So, siya yung quantity that is desired. Okay? Ayan. So, 30 milliliters times 100%. Okay? So, that's how you determine your percentage of error. Yeah, so the percentage of error, therefore, is equal to 2 times 100 divided by 30, and that is equal to an error of 6.7%. Okay? Correct. Ayan. So thank you for that answer. Ayan. So 6.7 or 6.67%. Okay? Ayan. So again, class, no, madalas dito nagkakamali yung students um, choosing between two measurements. Ayan. In the denominator, which one will you place? Okay? What you will do is you will have to read the problem carefully. Okay? So if the question is what was the percentage error in the original measurement? Okay? Therefore, the quantity that is desired, the one that you put in the denominator, is the original measurement, which is 30 milliliters. Okay. Now, because when you use the more accurate burette, okay, the volume is actually larger. Okay, so 32 milliliters, there is an excess of 2 milliliters. Okay, yan. So yung excess na yun, that is the error. Okay, yan. So yun yung error in the measurement. Okay. Yeah, so 2 milliliters divided by 30 times 100 gives you a percentage of error that is 6.7. So anong ibig sabihin nun? When you use the graduated cylinder, there is an error that is equivalent to 6.7%. Okay? Assuming that that your burette is our standard of the volume. Okay? Gets? And so yung error ay para kay graduated cylinder, hindi para kay burette. Right. So another problem, this one makes use of weight measures. When the maximum potential error is 4 milligrams in a total of 100 milligrams, what is the percentage of error or percentage error? So the percentage error is equal to 4 milligrams and divided by the desired quantity, that is 100 milligrams times 100%. Okay. Then the value is equal to 4%. That's our percentage of error. Okay. Yeah. So by the way, class, whenever I put the percent after 100, okay, I use that as a unit. Okay? Ayan. So minsan kasi no, merong confusion with this one, no? Kasi when you use your calculator, kunwari ang tinype mo 100 tapos you press the percent in the calculator, okay? Iba yung lalabas, okay? Yeah, so I use the percent here as a unit. Now, if you get confused by that, okay, just don't write the percent. Okay? So, yung percent dyan is not included in the calculation. It is a unit, okay, that I use. Kasi when you cancel the units milligram, what will be left as the unit is the percentage. Okay? Yan. So, yung iba kasi, no, ayan, I think ito yata yung ina-explain sa inyo in the laboratory. Wag nyo na lang daw ilagay yung percentage. Okay? Ayan, wag nyo na lang daw ilagay yung percentage. Okay? Ayan, kasi nako-confuse pa yung iba if you include the percentage in your calculation. Okay? And just to clarify, whenever you see the percentage in my calculations after 100 in the multiplier, that percentage is a unit. Okay? And so it is not part of your calculation. Okay? Okay, so let's have another problem. A prescription calls for 800 milligrams of a substance. After weighing this amount on a balance, the pharmacist decides to check by weighing it again on a more sensitive balance, which registers only 750 milligrams. Because the first weighing was 50 milligrams short of the desired amount, what was the percentage of error? Again, so the percentage of error is equal to 50 milligrams. Kasi that's the difference between 800 milligrams and 750 milligrams. Now, we will divide this by how many? Ayan, so remember that the original measurement is 800 milligrams. Okay, so that is the quantity desired. Okay, 800 milligrams, not 750. The 750 is the standard measurement and which gives us the error that is equivalent to 50 milligrams. Okay, so 50 times 100 divided by 800. And so I think somebody already answered in the chat box, and thank you for that. The answer is 6.25%. Okay, ayan. So Thank you to those who answered. Ayan sila, Miss Cruz, Mr. Arcilia, and Miss Portagana. Okay. Now, we will be using our knowledge of percentage of error in determining the smallest quantity that can be measured in a particular equipment. Okay. Now, if a certain percentage error is not to be exceeded and the maximum potential error of an instrument is known, it is possible to calculate the smallest quantity that it can be measured within the desired accuracy. Okay, so ano yung ibig sabihin nito, class? For example, when you look at the balance, okay, when you look at the balance and it mentions to you a percentage error, okay, that is its maximum potential error, okay. And so or let's say if a particular measurement, okay, has a maximum potential error of, let's say, 5%, okay. And so what will be the smallest quantity that is measurable in that instrument, okay? You can actually get it, no, from this, okay? Ayan, so from the formula. Now, if you will recall our formula earlier, percentage error is equal to the error divided by the desired quantity times 100. Okay? Again, disclaimer, yung percentage dyan that's used as a unit that is not included in any calculation. Okay? Ayan. So, this is our formula before, no? Ng percentage of error. It's equal to error divided by desired quantity times 100. Okay? Now, you'll just move this here and then this here. Okay? Yan. Ikutin mo lang sila. Okay? The desired quantity is actually the smallest quantity that will give you, okay, that will not exceed the maximum potential error, okay, in the measurement if you don't want uh, to have more than this percentage of error. Okay, so yun lang yung ibig sabihin nun. Okay, yeah, so same formula, different ways of expressing them. Okay, so the smallest quantity is basically equal to the maximum potential error. Remember its synonyms. Kapareho lang ito ng sensitivity requirement. Or in the equipment that we use, ang tawag dyan ay tolerance. Okay? And so that's the sensitivity requirement or the tolerance. And you can calculate the smallest quantity measurable in that particular instrument by knowing its percentage of error. Okay? Yan. So I know na medyo confusing siyang intindihin ngayon. Yan, but we'll have some examples later on. Ayan, I have 13 minutes left. Ayan, to illustrate the purpose of smallest quantity. Now, as you may have known from your laboratory, the smaller the diameter of the measuring tool that you use, especially for liquids, the smaller will be the error. Okay, yan. Kasi nga, there is what we call as a reading error. Ayan, just because you might not be able to look at the liquid at the proper height. No? Ayan. So remember that you should look at the liquid that you are measuring directly, no? Ayan, straight doon sa inyong sa line of sight, okay? To avoid what we call as your parallax error, okay? Yan, but meron tayong tinatawag na reading error, okay? Ito yung nagre-result doon sa parallax error, okay? Kapag hindi talaga pantay yung pagkakahawak mo ng let's say graduated cylinder or ng burette, okay? Now, because of that reading error, there is a volume error. Okay. Now the volume error becomes larger. The larger the diameter of the equipment that you use. Okay. Ayan, in measuring liquids, as illustrated here, no, same lang naman yung height. Okay. Same lang naman yung height ng inyong reading error. Okay. But because larger yung diameter ng conical flask like this one, the volume error is actually larger compared to your graduated cylinder. Now, the pipette has a very narrow na tube. Okay? So its volume error will be much less as compared to your conical flask and to your graduated cylinder. So, ano yung lesson to be learned here? If you would like accurate measurements, and if you would like accurate measurements or kapag sinabi in the USP to accurately measure, ayan, um, there are only two tools that you can use. Okay? Pag sinabing accurately measure, and accurately measure, let's say 10 milliliters of the liquid. Okay? Dalawa lang yung choices mo. Either you use the burette or the pipette. Okay? Dalawa lang yung pwede mong gamitin. Never ever use a graduated cylinder or worse, a beaker. Okay? To accurately measure something. Okay? Because those glassware have large volume errors. Okay? Ayan. Now, we will be using those percentage error, sensitivity requirement, maximum potential error in adequate method of weighing and measuring. Ano lang ba yung ibig sabihin nito? No? It looks complicated, but it's actually simple. Okay? Ayan. Now, our balances, okay? Our balances or even our glassware have a limit. Okay? Meron silang limit ng smallest quantity na they can measure. Okay? Ayan. So, yung smallest quantity that they can measure depends on the required percentage error, ayan, which should not be exceeded, and the tolerance or yung tinatawag nating sensitivity requirement of the instrument. Okay? Ayan. So, dalawa yung factors that affect, no? Ayan. So, yung maximum potential error or the tolerance of the instrument, and yung required or the maximum required na percentage error. Because of these two, okay, meron tayong tinatawag na smallest quantity that is measurable in your balances and in your glassware. Okay? Now, let us say that the smallest quantity that is measurable in your balance, okay, is only 100 milligrams. Okay? Tapos, you would like to weigh, let's say, 20 milligrams of the drug. Okay? And now, if you measure 100 milligrams of the drug, okay, you will be able to exceed both the percentage error required and the maximum potential error. Ayan, or the yung limit of your balance. Okay? Yan kasi yung limit ng inyong balance ay 100 milligrams. Ibig sabihin yan yung hanggang dyan lang yung kaya niyang i-measure accurately. Below this value, no, the measurements may not be accurate anymore. Okay? Masyado nang tataas yung percentage error. Okay? So because of that reason, we must find a way to be able to weigh 20 milligrams of the product. Now, we can only do this by adding a diluent. Okay? Yeah, so by diluting our drug substance, you will be able to weigh a certain amount of the mixture that would contain this amount of the drug. Okay? So yan yung ibig sabihin here. No? So for example, in this particular example, the needed amount of the drug is, let's say, 5 milligrams. Okay? Now, it is not within the limit of the instrument. Okay, so let's say that the instrument can accurately measure powders from 120 milligrams up. Okay, yan. So magkakaroon na ng malaking error kapag mababa yung i-weigh mo sa kanya. Okay, yan. So to be able to do that, you will decide a multiple factor that you will use that will give you an amount of the powder that exceeds this sensitivity requirement. Okay, yan. So medyo confusing kasi yung term na maximum potential error, no? We can also use the term sensitivity requirement. Okay? Yan. Ang ibig sabihin lamang ng sensitivity requirement, um, below this value, okay, the accuracy of the measurement will not be guaranteed. Okay? And let's say that the instrument has a sensitivity requirement of 120 milligrams. Okay? What you will do is you will think of a multiple that will give you a value that exceeds or that is equivalent to the sensitivity requirement of the instrument. Okay. Yeah. So in the example in your book, the multiple that is used is 25 because that gives an amount that is equivalent to 125 milligrams. And that already exceeds the sensitivity requirement. So okay, no, it's weighable in your instrument. Okay. Next is of course the next question is how am I going to get 5 milligrams if I have already 125 milligrams of the drug? What you will do is you will add a diluent. Okay? So maglalagay ka ng diluent doon sa inyong um, drug. Okay? Yeah, so let's say you will add a diluent, okay? And you will add a diluent na 2,875 milligrams. Now, you may ask, sir, saan po nanggaling yung 2,875 milligrams? Actually, nanggaling yan dito, no? Let's say what you want to weigh is 120 milligrams kasi ito yung sensitivity requirement. Okay? Ayan, 120 milligrams. What you do is you multiply this 120 milligrams times at the multiplier that you used. Okay? Ito yung sensitivity requirement. Ay, sorry, ba't nilagyan ko ng milligrams? Ayan. Ayan. So, ang ginawa ninyo talaga dyan is you use the sensitivity requirement, which is 120 milligrams. You use the multiplier that you used for your drug, 25. Okay? So, 120 milligrams times 25, this is equivalent to 3,000. Now, ano tong 3,000? 3,000 is the weight of the mixture needed, okay, to give you an amount of the powdered mixture, okay, that is equivalent to the smallest quantity that can be measured in your instrument containing 5 milligrams of the drug. Okay, yan. So, yun yung ibig sabihin nung 3,000. Okay, so 3,000 minus 125, that's equivalent to 2,875. Correct. Ayan. So, 3,000 minus 125, so that's equal to 2,875. Okay? So, that gives you an amount of 3,000. Okay? So, ulitin natin, no? So, para hindi confusing. So, first is, let's say, assuming that our instrument has a sensitivity requirement or a lowest quantity weighable, okay? That is equivalent to 120 milligrams. Okay? Anything lower than this, your instrument will not give you an accurate result. Okay? Correct. That's, hindi. We will compute this pa. No? Ayan, kino-compute yung sensitivity requirement. Ayan, so which I will give you, I will tell you later on. Okay? Ayan, so, or does, yeah. So this is the lowest quantity, okay? The lowest quantity that's weighable in the in the instrument, okay? So what you will do is you will think of a multiple that will give you a value that is equal or greater than 120 milligrams, okay? Yung ginamit ng libro ninyo is 25, so you have 125 milligrams, okay? Next is you will multiply 120 by 25, so you get 3,000. So anong ibig sabihin nun? If you will be weighing 120 milligrams of the mixture, okay, um, that will contain 5 milligrams of your drug. Ayan. Gaano karami yung ipe-prepare mo na mixture, okay, where the dilution factor is 1 is to 25. Okay? Ayan. So kaya nag-multiply tayo ng 25. So you get 3,000. So 3,000 minus 125 is 2,875. Ayan. So next is sinasabi lang dito that you will get an aliquot. Okay? An aliquot means a portion. Okay? So an aliquot is a portion of the powder. Okay? So you get an aliquot that is 1 over 25 of the 3,000. Bakit 1 over 25? Kasi our multiple is 25. So ang ginamit natin na multiplier is 1 over 25. Okay? So 3,000 divided by 1 over 25 or 3,000 divided by 25 equals 120. Okay? So this is the amount of the powder that you will weigh, which will contain 5 milligrams of the drug, and the rest will be diluent. Okay? I know that it may sound difficult at the moment, and so let's have some example. Ayan. Now, yung sensitivity requirement, remember this is also the error, okay, in the formula, okay? Now, the smallest quantity, and the smallest quantity is equal to error divided by the percentage error times 100, okay? So remember this formula. And so let's say you have a torsion prescription balance, which has a sensitivity requirement of 6.5 milligrams. Explain how you would weigh 15 milligrams of atropine sulfate with an accuracy of plus or minus 5% using lactose as the diluent. Now, when you see the accuracy, siya rin yung error. Okay? Yan kasi the um, standard error is actually a measure of accuracy. Okay? Ayan. So, pareho lang yan. No? And they can be used interchangeably. So, the first thing that you will do, no, when you have this kind of problem is to compute for the, ayan, compute the smallest quantity weighable in the instrument. Ayan, so that's number one. So the smallest quantity, so the smallest quantity weighable is equal to the error, that is also your sensitivity requirement. So 6.5 milligrams divided by the percentage error. Ayan, yung percentage error daw dito ay, ito ay natakpan kasi, 5%. Ayan, so 5% times, ayan, 100. Okay? So the smallest quantity is equal to 6.5 times 100 divided by 5. Okay? So your answer is 130 milligrams. Okay? So that's the smallest quantity that is weighable in the instrument. Okay? Yeah, now, remember that you want to weigh 15 milligrams of atropine. That's way lower than 130 milligrams. Okay? So yung technique na pwede ninyong gawin is number 2, you will decide on the multiple. And or the factor that you will use to increase the weight of the drug that you will use. Okay? Remember, ang goal mo is to get a factor, so 15 milligrams times a factor that will give you a value that is greater than or equal to the smallest quantity, which is 130 milligrams. Okay? So yan yung gusto mong makuha. Okay? So what you can do is you can divide 130 divided by 5. Okay? And that's equivalent to 26. Okay? Yan, pero sabihin na natin na trip-trip lang, no? Gusto ko 30. Okay? Yan, kasi mas madaling mag-multiply ng 30. Okay? Yan, so 15 milligrams times 30. Okay? Ito yung multiplier that I used. Okay? Yan, 30 yung ginamit ko. Yan, so 15 milligrams 15 milligrams times 30 is equal to 450. Kasi mas madali nga namang mag-multiply, di ba? Ayan, 450 milligrams. Okay, yung next na part is, now, you will decide on the amount of the diluent. Okay? That you will put. And that will be based on the number of, that will be based on the weight, no? And that will be based on the on the weight of the mixture, okay, that you will eventually weigh in the end. Okay? Let's say, trip-trip ko lang, gusto ko mag-weigh ng 150. Ayan. So, gusto ko mag-weigh ng 150 milligrams of the mixture. Okay? In the end. Okay? Gusto kong mag-weigh ng 150 milligrams of the mixture in the end. Okay? Ayan. So, dahil gusto ko mag-weigh ng 150 milligrams of the mixture in the end, multiply ko rin to ng same factor na 30 milligrams. Okay? Ayan. So, bakit 30? Ay, 30 milligrams. Na 30 yung factor ko. Ayan, kasi that's the same multiple that I used. Okay? Doon sa nauna. Okay? Ayan. So, remember that you increased the weight, okay, of your drug by 30 times. So what you will also do eventually is you will divide the amount of the mixture using the same factor. Okay? Ayan. So let's say I want to weigh 150 milligrams of the mixture. Ayan. So to get the weight of the mixture, okay, from which I will get the drug, I will also multiply it by 30. Okay? So 150 times 30, and that's equal to 4,500 milligrams. Okay? Now, this is the mixture. Now, to get the weight of the diluent, what I will do is, I will just subtract this because this is the amount of the drug. Okay? So, 4,500 milligrams minus 450 milligrams, and this is equivalent to 4,050 milligrams of the diluent. Okay? So ano yung ibig sabihin yan, no? Class, ganito yung ginawa ninyo, no? What you will do is you will weigh, instead of 15 milligrams of the drug, although yun yung kailangan mo, you will be weighing 450 milligrams of the drug. Okay? That is 30 times larger than the original amount of the drug that you will use. Okay? Tapos, you will mix that with 4,050 milligrams of the diluent to give you 4,500 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture. Okay? Now, of course, you still need to supply 15 milligrams of atropine sulfate. Okay? Ayan, so para ma-supply yung 15 milligrams of atropine sulfate, what are we supposed to do? Ayan, ito kasi yung ginawa natin. To get the value 4,500, we actually multiplied an arbitrary value, okay, which is equal or greater than 130 milligrams. Okay? This is an arbitrary value. Okay? Ayan, so by 30, the same factor that you use to multiply the amount of the drug. Okay? Ayan, so anong ibig sabihin nun? If I have 4,500 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture, and I will get a 30, 1/30 of it, no, a fraction of it, which is 1/30, yung kanyang size, ito yung tinatawag nating aliquot. Okay, I will get a 1/30th aliquot of the powdered mixture, okay, to give me 150 milligrams of the mixture. Okay, so 4,500 milligrams times 1/30, this is equal to 150 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture. Okay? Ayan. Ang tanong, ilan ang laman ng gamot ng 150 milligrams of drug diluent mixture? Okay? Now remember that in the 4,500 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture, it contains 150 milligrams of the drug. Okay? Ayan, so dahil naglalaman siya ng 450 milligrams of the drug, ayan, ayusin natin, no? So 450 milligrams of the drug are contained in 4,500 milligrams, okay, of the drug diluent mixture. Okay? Now, if I get 150 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture, take note na yung denominators ko dito ay both drug diluent mixture. Okay? Ang X is the amount of the drug that is contained in 150 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture. Okay? So that X is equal to 450 times 150 divided by 4,500. The answer is 15 milligrams. So, ibig sabihin, in your 150 milligrams of drug diluent, make sure you have here 15 milligrams of the drug. The rest, yung 135 milligrams, ito ay yung diluent. Okay? Which you will not weigh. Kasi ang i-weigh mo lang ay yung 150 milligrams. Okay? Ayan. So, ayan yung ibig sabihin ng aliquot method of weighing. Ayan. So, did you get it? Or medyo confusing? Now, meron ding least weighable quantity method. Okay? Ayan, alam kong time na, no? Ayan, so we'll have this next meeting. Okay? Ayan, so to sink in. Ayan, tapos we'll just continue with the next lesson, no? Next meeting. Ayan, so what I want you to remember dito, okay, in this particular slide ay yung steps. Okay? Ayan, so remember, when you are asked to determine how you are supposed to weigh 15 milligrams of atropine sulfate with a certain degree of accuracy and given the sensitivity requirement of the instrument. Okay, these are the steps that you are going to do. First, you determine the smallest quantity that is weighable in the instrument. Why? Because you need to figure out a factor, okay, that will give you, okay, the amount of the drug that is greater than or equal to the smallest quantity weighable in that particular balance. Okay? So, yung 150, that's probably the next thing that you will ask me, no? Sir, bakit 150 yung ginamit natin, hindi na lang 130? Wala lang, maganda kasi yung number na 150. Okay? Walang any particular reason. Okay? Now, if you choose 130 milligrams, walang problem. Okay? And that is actually the least weighable quantity method. Okay? Yan. So gusto ko lang kasing ipakita yung difference ng least weighable quantity method of measuring and yung aliquot method. Yung aliquot method, medyo maluwag. Okay? You can just choose any factor that will give you a value that is greater than or equal to the smallest quantity weighable in the instrument. Okay? Pag 130, ayan. So pag 130 yung pinili mo, ayan, the factor is 8.67. Ang pangit na number, di ba? Ayan, so hindi siya maganda. Okay? Ayan, so kaya ang ginamit ko ay iba, no? Ayan. So ang ginamit ko ay 450 milligrams. Okay? Ayan, so 450 pala, sorry, hindi pala 150. Ayan, so 450, yun yung ginamit ko na milligrams of the drug, no? Ayan. Yeah, this is 15. Ayan, mukha lang 150. Ayan, so yung G kasi, ayan, 15 yan, 15, promise. Ayan, 15 yan. Okay? Ayan, so what I use, no, ayan, arbitrary value, no? Hindi pala 150, ang ginamit ko pala 450. Ayan, so ang ginamit ko ay 450 na amount ng drug. Okay? So 450 divided by 30 equals 15. Okay? But you can also choose 10, factor na 10. Wala namang problem doon, no? And that will give you an amount that is 150 milligrams. Okay? Yeah, so the difference is sa aliquot method kasi masyadong maluwag. Okay? And so for example, if you choose a factor of 10, the weight of your drug here will be 150 milligrams. Okay? So kung 150 milligrams yan, okay, factor mo ay 10, ang pwede mong gawin is just multiply this by 10. Okay? So 10 ito rin, i-multiply mo rin ito ng 10. Okay? So that will give you an amount that is 1,500 milligrams. Ito yung inyong mixture. Okay? Ayan. Now, in your mixture, naglalaman siya ng 150 milligrams of the drug and 1,350 milligrams of the diluent. Ito yung drug, ito yung diluent. Okay? Ayan. Pwede rin yan. Okay? Ayan. So this is another solution to the problem. Yung sa akin lang, arbitrarily, I chose 30. No? Ayan. Kasi gusto ko 30. Ayan. Walang any particular reason. Okay? Basta it will give me a value that is greater than or equal to 130. Okay? And so if you choose 10, why not? No, there's no problem. The thing is that you have to remember, um, whatever you have in mind na gusto mong i-weigh in the balance, dapat mas mataas siya doon sa smallest quantity. Okay? Ayan. So, dapat laging mas mataas yung i-weigh mong powder kesyo ano pa yan, no? Kung siya yung mismong mixture, kung siya yung gamot, or siya yung diluent. Okay? All of them should have a weight that is greater than the smallest quantity weighable in the balance. Okay? Ayan. So kaya important that you first determine the smallest quantity that is weighable in your balance. And then number two, you decide on the multiple or on the factor that you will use to multiply the amount of the drug. Okay? In my case, in the original computation, I used 30. Okay? For the reason na gusto ko lang. No? Ayan, walang dahilan. So that will give me 450 milligrams of the drug. Okay? Next is, I also arbitrarily chose, okay? I arbitrarily chose 150 milligrams of the mixture, okay? Another factor that can change, okay? And so, inisip ko lang na I want to weigh the drug diluent mixture that is 150 milligrams, okay? So, if you want to weigh that amount of the diluent drug mixture, you multiply that also by 30, okay? To get the amount of the mixture that you will need to prepare. Okay? So, ang meron tayo ay 4,500 milligrams of the mixture. Now, in the 4,500 milligrams of the mixture, okay, it contains 450 milligrams of the drug. So, number 3, you decide on the amount of the diluent. Okay? Ayan, so you subtract 150 from 4,500 milligrams and that will give you 4,050 milligrams of the diluent. Okay? That should give you a total of 4,500 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture. Okay? Nagets? Ayan. So next is, I will determine now the amount of drug diluent mixture that I will weigh, okay, to contain 15 milligrams of the drug. Okay? Now, again, ikaw yung nag-set nun. Okay? You set na 150 milligrams yung gusto mong i-weigh na drug diluent mixture in the end. Okay? So basically, 4,500 milligrams divided by 30, that will also give you 150 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture. And in the 150 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture, ayan, ito, dito naman yung next, naglalaman siya ng 15 milligrams of the drug. Ayan. Kasi, remember na 30 times yung inyong factor. Okay? Ayan. So, 30 times yung ginamit mong factor. Okay? Ayan. So, kaya yung 450, okay, it will give you 15 milligrams. Okay? Ayan. So, yan yung aliquot method. Okay? Now, in the least quantity method of weighing, medyo mas simple siya. Okay? In a sense, mas konti yung mga arbitrary values that you will choose. Okay? And so there are a lot of things that you arbitrarily choose here, no? You arbitrarily choose the factor. You also arbitrarily choose the amount of the diluent drug mixture that you will weigh, no, in the end. Tapos doon nakabase lahat ng mga calculations. Okay? Ayan. So, that is the aliquot method of weighing. Okay? Yeah, so doon sa na-confuse kanina, this is 15. No? This is 15 milligrams. This is 135 milligrams. Okay? The total should be 150 milligrams. Okay? Ano pa ba yung pwede kong sabihin dito? Okay. So siguro, pampasimple, hindi ko alam kung masisimple siya, no? Remember na yung winay mong drug is 450 milligrams. And the weight of the mixture is 4,500 milligrams. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, in the 150 milligrams of the drug diluent mixture, divided by 10, okay? So, yun yung 15 milligrams. Yun lang din yun. Okay? And so, ang daming pasikot-sikot, no? Ayan, but it will give you naman the correct answer. Okay? Ayan, so I know na medyo nag-sink in. So we'll just continue with this late next week, no? We'll continue with the least weighable quantity method, and we'll have some examples this time using some liquids. Okay? And what if liquids naman yung gagamitin in our calculations. Okay? And then we'll continue with the next topics. Okay, so we'll already proceed with specific gravity, specific density, and specific volume plus alligation. Okay, yeah, so those will be our topics for next week. I will also be uploading a quiz, okay, for which you have a week to answer 3 trials to complete. Okay, ayan. So as I already mentioned to you during the orientation, ganun yung quizzes ko, no? Ayan, so it's uploaded. It's asynchronous. You can do it anytime. Okay, you can do it anytime for as long as you do it within the deadline. Okay, you have a week to answer. You have 3 attempts. No, you have a maximum of 3 attempts. Okay, for our first quiz. Okay. And so with that, I won't hold you any longer. All right. Um, this recording. Okay. So this recording, if you would like a copy of this recording, just give me a message, no, in the ILS cloud so that I can give you the link to the uploaded lecture. The PowerPoint is already uploaded in the ILS cloud. Okay, for this particular lecture. Okay. Hanggang dulo kasi to no? Hanggang ano na to? Hanggang least weighable quantity. Yes, anyone can request for the recording. And in fact, when I message the students then, I tell them to feel free to share the recording to anyone who requested. Okay? Ayan. Hindi ko lang siya nilalagay doon sa mismong ILS cloud. I just give the link. Okay? Ayan. So, are there any more questions? And so don't worry, alam kong nag-sync in. Our quiz will focus more on the conversions. Okay? And conversions muna. Wala pa tong aliquot method and least weighable quantity method of weighing and measuring. Okay? So ano lang muna. Focus tayo dun sa conversions, a Vodafone system, apothecary system, and the metric system. Okay? And so if there are no more questions, thank you everyone, and I'll see you again next week. Okay, so bye everyone.